Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all keeping indoors and remaining safe. Remember, the sun always shines after a storm. Today, we begin with our next poem, The Patriot by Robert Browning. Robert Browning was a famous poet of the Victorian age. He wrote his first book of poetry at the age of 12. He fell in love with the poet Elizabeth Barrett Browning. She too was a poetess. Robert Browning is known for writing dramatic monologues. The poem The Patriot too is a dramatic monologue. This poem was written as a result of Browning's experience of the rise and fall of heroes in Italy's premature struggle to free herself from Austria. But today, as we do this poem, I would like to ask you the meaning of the word patriot. I'm sure all of you will say a patriot is a person who loves his country. True, a patriot is a person who loves his country and is ready to do anything for the country and its people, just like the doctors, nurses, policemen, etc. All of them, despite knowing that they might be infected with COVID 19, they are still doing their duty like a true patriot. Despite the fact that they are doing their duty day and night, haven't we seen how some people have been treating these patriots? How they have been stoned at, abused, or ill treated? But why? They are patriots, aren't they? Let me give you another example of a politician. At one time, everyone praises a particular politician and so he wins the elections. At another time, the same people disgrace the politician and following elections, he loses, even though he had done a good job. But why? This particular poem is a dramatic monologue, and the speaker is the patriot. The poem The Patriot is a similar example to the ones which I have given. This poem is a dramatic monologue, and the speaker is the patriot. The patriot in the poem had heroic achievements a year ago. He was accorded a very warm welcome on his return. But just after a year, he falls in esteem. He is arrested and is being led to the gallows. People now simply hate him. Some even throw stones at him. So the same patriot who was received royally by the people, a year later, he was dragged through the streets and given a scornful send-off to his death as a condemned man. The poet does not mention the crime committed by the patriot, but he is still optimistic. The patriot feels that God will reward him in heaven, while people have failed to recognize his services. God is the only shelter for those who are betrayed and deserted by their fellow beings. Let us now read the poem in detail. First stanza. It was roses, roses all the way, with myrtle mixed in my path like mad. The house roofs seemed to heave and sway, the church spires flamed such flags they had, a year ago on this very day. The poem begins with the patriot recalling, and remember, it's a flashback of how he was welcomed a year ago. When he came back after his grand victory, the poet says that all the people had gathered to give him a grand welcome. They threw rose petals and myrtles in his path. Myrtles are the sweet smelling flowers. The poet says that the people had gathered like mad, meaning that they were full of enthusiasm and they were cheering and throwing roses and myrtles in his way to welcome him. The house roofs seemed to heave and sway, meaning that people had gathered on the rooftops to have a look at him and view the grand show. The poet says that the roof seemed to heave and sway. This is a personification, giving the human like quality of the roof. Here, the poet means to say that the rooftop was filled with people. It was overcrowded with people cheering for the patriot. And their body movements make the rooftops appear as if they are moving from side to side. The church spires flamed such flags. The church spires, these are the pointed, tall, cone-shaped structures above a church. And they had flags on them. They were decorated to welcome the patriot. They were shining. And all this took place a year ago on this very day. Meaning this is what happened a year back. The second stanza. The air broke into a mist with bells. The old walls rocked with the crowd and cries. Had I said, good folk, mere noise repels, but give me your sun from yonder skies. They had answered, and afterward, what else? In this stanza, the patriot continues to recall what took place a year ago, the way he was welcomed. He says the air broke into a mist with bells, meaning that the ringing of the church bells filled the air, and it seemed to be echoing the celebration and his welcome. The old walls of the city echoed the impact of the noise created by the crowd. The patriot says that had he told the people that he didn't want all the cheers and the applause, but instead he wanted them to fetch the sun from the far off skies. Fetching the sun from the far off skies is something which is impossible. But the people would have done that for him. Why? Because they worshipped the patriot. And soon after, they would have also asked him, what else did he want? The patriot tries to tell us that the people were ready to do anything for him, but a year ago. The patriot does not seek momentary praise, but he wants everlasting recognition and glory. The third stanza. Alack, it was I who leaped at the sun, to give it my loving friends to keep. Not man could do, have I left undone. And you see my harvest, what I reap, this very day, now a year is run. The third stanza begins with the word alack, which means alas, an exclamation of sorrow and regret. Therefore, this stanza has a tone of regret. The patriot says he did not ask the people to do anything for him. Instead, it was he who leaped at the sun. It was he who tried to do the impossible things for his people. Leaped at the sun does not literally mean to leap for the sun, but it means that he tried to do the impossible things for them. In the next line, he calls the people as his beloved friends. He says he did whatever he could for his countrymen. He says that no man would have done what he has not done for his people. He accomplished what no other man could have done. But the patriot, in the last two lines, he mourns how his noble deed has been repaid by the people. He says, and you see my harvest, what I reap. Harvest here refers to the reward that he is given by the people. This line gives us the transition from a year ago to the present. His harvest is his reward. He has received and what he has gained. According to him, what has he gained? For all the impossible things he has done for his countrymen. The patriot, who was given a celebrity status, he gained nothing. This very day, now a year is run. Means this day, a year ago. So, children, in the first three stanzas, the patriot, who is the speaker, has told us about what happened a year ago, the way he was welcomed a year ago. But in the third stanza, we see him regretting, mourning for the efforts which he has made are not at all praised by the people. They have disgraced him, and thus he mourns for all that has taken a year ago. According to what we have just read, the three stanzas, there is an extract which is being given below. Please answer the questions that follow. These questions are to be done in your Literature in English notebook. If you have a new one, good. If not, use your previous year's notebook, or you can do them on loose sheets and attach them in a file. I shall continue this poem in my next class. Till then, please answer these questions. Thank you.